Greetings, Mind Crafters, and welcome to another exciting Mindcraft episode here on this glorious day. My name is Kimberly Quinn. I'm out here with little Giovanni, and I am absolutely elated. We're way back there now in what's called the High Meadow. We've been snowshoeing all over the place. Then we had the in-between where you kind of had to wear snowshoes, but part of it was grass, but you couldn't get through the parts that were snow without the shoes. So it's just been the usual April situation, which is gorgeous. And I'll tell you, I'm so incredibly inspired today. I had two podcasts today, and they're both in different contexts and a very similar message. And we're talking about the power of letting it go. And we talked about that with forgiveness. This is a little different. This is different. Because it's all related, obviously, but it's different. The power of actually surrendering. I'm not talking about religion at all. In fact, the second podcast guest went a whole nother direction that what she kind of signed up for, and she was fantastic. We talked about it, and I said, hey, go with your authentic impulse. People want what's relatable, and man, did she crush it. She has struggled with OCD her entire life that she can remember. She spoke about, in a loving way, not in a judging way, talking about her parents meant well. She was an only child, or is an only child. And they were just extremely controlling, and she wasn't passing blame. She was just kind of describing it, and that's all she said. She didn't give any specifics, but she that led her into this just really severe OCD. She felt like she had to have control, as close to all the time as possible. And she was, again, wonderfully courageous about doing all this work on herself, and how, really was stemming from insecurity and fear and all this stuff. And this led to our whole talk on surrendering. Again, not about religion. Spiritually, yes. Higher power, you can call it whatever you want, universe. But they're actually surrendering, because people think it means giving up. It couldn't be farther from the truth. And she just dropped some wisdom bombs all over the place. And not that old. I guess her to be in her early to mid 30s, maybe? Early 30s? I don't know. But she had so much to say about, and she said something towards the end. I'm not even sure we were on the camera then. I think we were. When she talked about, when the suffering situation, whether it's you're not in a great relationship, or you've got all kinds of workplace drama, or issues with other relationships, or living situation, whatever it is, when we've got, suffering going on, what it takes is for the agony of whatever it is, fill in the blank suffering, to overcome, be stronger than what would happen to just let it go, to surrender it. Surrender to the universe and just see what happens. Again, whether it's God for you or higher power, universe, whatever, because sort of the irony in it, and she and I talked about this in several different examples, not just her OCD. The irony in it is that when you actually really, really, truly surrender, it's amazing that the solutions just kind of arrive on your front doorstep. And it's so counterintuitive, because what we want to do when we're feeling insecure and afraid and in that, need to control mode and all that type of thing, is that we want to just dig our claws in. That's what we want to do, because it gives us this illusion that we can control whatever it is going on. The high majority of things we can't control. It's a big fat illusion, because life unfolds, the kind of the way it's meant to unfold. So here's the other part of the inspiration, which I thought was amazing. We both talked about being in the eye of the storm, kind of remaining calm no matter what's, going on around you. And she said how she used to, because OCD, and she said this on film, so it's okay. OCD and also GAD, which is generalized anxiety. So she had that and something else. Maybe it was ADHD, ADD, something. Anyway, but she was very, 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 very familiar with the racy monkey mind her entire life, not really knowing peace of mind at all. And she started to do this work on herself. I think she said 12 years of just really being introspective and reflective on, sort of understanding this is all mind chatter. When we're feeling threatened, when we're at home on the couch, or in a dorm room with our roommate, or we're sitting on the beach in the sand, or picture wherever, and we're not actually being threatened, but the brain doesn't know the difference, right? And it's what we talked about. We talked about really fully getting that, and she is sort of a walking, success story with managing anxiety. And she was the opposite of the opposite of cocky or arrogant about it. She was actually very, very humble about it and very, very honest about how brutal it was when she was in the throes of it. And that's what she was saying about the whole suffering thing. And that won't be out till May. I'll try to remind everybody when it gets close, because she's going to say all this way better than I am right now. But it's what inspired me, because I'm very into surrendering and remaining in that eye of the storm. Because once you kind of get it down, when she said, okay, she said it was brutal, all from, growing up and just all day long. She said she even didn't go to some things. She would have a social thing at high school or wherever, a while ago, or a social thing as a young adult, and she'd plan to go, and then eventually she would just not go. She would just throw in the towel because she was so overwhelmed with all the racy, just paralyzing feelings and anxiety can do to her. And now you will hear her in the middle of May, roughly. She says she wants to say zero anxiety, but she feels like she doesn't want to say zero because it just seems so absolute. But she said it's close to zero, like low, low, low. And she said, because I really truthfully just detached from the outcomes. And she's expecting their first child right now. He's a little boy. He's due in, I think, a few weeks. And she said so many people have come up to her. I remember this too, saying, oh, but if you have a C-section, don't worry, don't stress, and all this don't worry, don't stress stuff. And she says, I'm not. Whatever it is, I'll. She even said about being excited. They'll say, are you excited? And she says, no, I mean, I'm not excited, but in this moment right now, I don't have him yet, And so she's just in this fantastic place, and she was so honest. She shared lots and lots about the vulnerability of it. So whether it's anxiety or whether, we actually brought up being an entrepreneur, which I can relate to too, because she has a magazine. She's an emotional intelligence specialist and also a generational trauma specialist. So again, when she gets closer, I'll leave you the info. But she talked about when she was running a business a while back, and that being an entrepreneur is full of wanting to control this. And there's a lot of uncontrollables, and you want to control them. The client wants this, the client doesn't want that. You got tech stuff working, not working, And she says that's where it all, I don't know if that's where it all started, but she talked about that being, challenging, that you just have to realize when you're outcome based. We've talked about this a lot on the Minecraft podcast and YouTube channel. When we have our happiness and inner peace and calm mind and all that attached to outcomes that are external to us, that are outside of here and here, that we are then dependent on our good feels on other people and circumstances and situations. And she brought that up, and like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do like 3 or 4 podcasts with this person, because she was just so, and all my guests are amazing, I don't mean that, just within the topic is such a hot tamale right now, because so much of the country and world is just so anxious. And the Gen Zs, as we all know, are the most anxious and depressed generation of young adults that the United States, has seen. I mean, they're very, 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 very anxious. A lot of fear-based thinking, a lot of what-if thinking, a lot of focus on out here outcomes instead of, and they're learning, they're getting there, they're definitely getting there, instead of, bringing that stuff in the living room, which is hard. My guest, Brittany Nicole, just talked about how hard it was, but how the introspection has been life-changing for her, and the work has been absolutely life-changing. G wants to move, apparently, because she said now she has almost zero anxiety. It's been a while. It's not like it's been a week. It's been a while, because she just, when her mind starts to head for that trap of feeling like she needs to control the situation, she does a lot of talk through with, what about these thoughts is real, which is usually not much, if anything, right? What about this is in the past? What about this is in the future? Because the only place that's free of anxiety is the present moment. So we got talking about, the power of mindfulness, and people get that confused with meditation. There can be some overlap, but really being mindful is about just being in the present moment. Just be here now in your life, engaged with whatever's in front of you, whether it's in the woods here, or you're washing dishes, or whatever. And when she gave me a huge smile when I agreed and said, well, yeah, that's the only place anxiety is not, right? Because it's neurologically impossible to feel anxious unless you're allowing anxious thoughts to run through your mind first. So if you're absolutely in the moment, 100%, it's not possible for you to be anxious if you're actually in this moment. So it was just such a delightful conversation. It was just about an hour ago, and then the first one I had, the first gentleman was talking about mindfulness in the corporate world as an innovator, and he was also amazing. So he'll be in early May, she'll be in mid-May. I'll release those. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So both of them had a very main theme of detaching from outcomes. You want to, I mean, you can put the good feels out. Like, I would like this situation or project or relationship or living situation, whatever, to work out for the best, and feel what it's like to feel the feeling of it being good, having it, have it, good outcome. But the trick is to not box that outcome into looking a specific way. That is where we get caught up, and it can be very hard because we don't want to do that. We want to have things, go really well. And then she said another thing. She was talking about a difficult conversation she had with a family member, and did not expect that family member to take it. She said, I came at it with love and kindness, and I was extremely careful with my words. And she said something, and I told her that was a quote for the ages. And she said it was because, and she even, said, I'm willing to clarify what I think and how I feel. And the other person was very in defense mode. That was the filter of the other person. And then she just said to me, she said, I had to tell myself, it doesn't have to go well to go well. And I really liked that, because it didn't turn out where it was all, as they say, I'm going to say this, ice cream sundaes and roses or something. It didn't come out like that, but parties were heard and they moved forward, but it looked a little different than what she thought. And just the whole thing was so good. And so the whole idea of surrendering is so powerful. It's not giving up. It's not just, say, okay, I'll be defeated. It's about trusting in yourself and in the universe, or whatever you call that you will be in alignment, for the greater good, and to really trust that it is all going to unfold exactly the way it's supposed to, and that we don't have a way to control that. It's an illusion anyway. May as well just let it go and surrender. Here you go, universe. This situation with work politics is way too much. Here you go, higher power. Here you go. It's all you. Please take care of everything and see what happens. What's also amazing, she talked about this, is once we do truly surrender and let it go. I've had this happen so many times in my life. Couldn't even possibly count the times. And it doesn't have to always be big stuff. It can be little stuff. Something going on at work or home or with friendships. It can be small stuff, but it's just bugging you. It keeps coming in your mind. And then, ironically, because we want to dig in so much, as soon as we let go, and this is very true for me out here in Giovanni's and my woods where we are, is the answer, the solutions come so quickly in these woods, I can't even tell you. Again, not just the big things, medium-sized things, and really small things. It's almost like we said, it's almost like a faucet you can't shut off. Once we make room for it, let go of the outcomes, let go, period, and get into allowing and receiving mode, it is all right there. So I can't go on enough about the power of true, authentic surrender. Here comes Giovanni. Okay, have a good day.